In 1997, 80 teachers joined the school. In 1998, 40 of them disappeared. Today, in 2016, there are only 3 remaining from that batch. One of them may look very simple and casual, but is a powerhouse of the latest news, views, and happenings in the world.
The thoughts exploded with renewed energy. You told yourself that you will not think, but finally there were countless new things which you have to think. You pulled your blanket, covered your face, fluffed up the pillows, but still you started thinking again. In the course of the night, when the night is going to be over, your energy drained away, you felt exhausted, and finally when the alarm went off, you got up, bad-tempered, restless, and sometimes thoroughly miserable. And during the day, we had an opposite problem. You want to concentrate, but you couldn't do. You want to stumble upon your work, but you're not really present. You stared at the pile of notebooks kept on your table, hoping that you will gain some momentum so that at the end of the day you will clear the table, but that doesn't happen. Your body ached, you feel exhausted, stressed, and more anxious. And this situation not only happens to us, it happens to children. So that's an important one. Anyone in this room who have not felt like this, if you put your hand, maybe you should be here to train. Or you should be an exception, I can say. Anyone who felt, you are not felt like this in any of your sleep. Sometimes as years goes by, we are not getting the sleep which is called as a quality sleep. Now this session is to at least find out some peace, some contentment, so that we can take this for children. That's the purpose of this. Now we are trying to explore the possibilities, especially to bring in more concentration in students. Of course, this mindfulness is a training, but we will not be able to see that in full because I am not a mindful expert. I am just opening up certain parts which I learned when I attended a workshop so that it will be useful in some way for our children to learn some simple techniques. Now there are different triggers actually happening in our day-to-day life. Some of them are based on context we can say in terms. Few years back, some psychologists, they were able to find out that is, if some sea divers, when they were told to memorize certain words when they were on the beach, and once when they get into the water, they were not able to recollect what they memorized, and once when they came back to the dry land, they were able to recollect. The other way around also happened. When they memorized few words underneath the water, they were not able to recollect when they on the dry land. The same context we can apply to our life also. If you recall one of your favorite childhood holiday destination, you can think something what you usually feel happier when you want to visit back. In recent times, some of you would have visited. By thinking about that, you may recollect some memories, but when you actually visit that place, even though you go with hazy memories first, by seeing the sight of it, by hearing the sound, by hearing the smell, sometimes by walking in that route, you will be able to bring in lot of related memories. Your childhood destination sometimes be a trigger in your mind. There are a lot of triggers like that in our daily life. One of them, I'm giving an example because each one will have their own triggers. One of the examples is I'm telling 35 years back, or maybe mostly 40 years back, when I was in Ainavaram in Chennai, and when I hear one song which is usually sung by L.R. Ishwari, that is 40 years back, and that song will be played in a temple nearby. And once when I hear that song, I usually recollect my happy times with my father. Sometimes when you hear a favorite tune which is related to some happy moments, you feel triggered. There are a lot of triggers like that, but here we can bring in an internal context which is as powerful as your holiday destination, which you can revisit often, which will help you to at least make your mind a little bit more calm, peaceful, and at the same moment you will feel satisfied. There are numerous scientific evidence as well as psychological evidence which shows that regular meditators are happier and they are more contented. And usually they make only very few visits to hospital. Sorry, doctor. Anxiety, depression, irritability decreases with regular session on meditation. Actually, I want to see where is Aishwarya. Are you here? She has to come back because she has to play a major role after this. People who have done a small bit of meditation, they always feel that they were able to liberate from the pressures of time, and they also found that they get at least more time to spend on it. But what usually happens in reality is, it is like we are trapped in a quicksand. Again, I'm telling, look into my eyes. We are trapped in the quicksand where when we struggle to free ourselves, the more we struggle to free ourselves, the deeper we sink. Of course, what Rama Miss and Milton sir attended also has some kind of inclination to this, what I'm trying to say. Now, this is a concern in today's world, anxiety. We are more anxious, we are more frustrated, we always think about the past or the future, not the present. Whether we are brushing our teeth, or whether we are having a cup of tea, or whether sometimes even while teaching also we'll be thinking about the next period or the next deadline or the next thing which you have to do, not the moment which you are inside the classroom. These kind of phobia, panic attacks, social anxiety, these are some of the terms used for some simple disorders which are found in all of us. But what actually happens is, what we try to do, or what I'm trying to explain, it is not a secret, it is a secret, we can say, in one way or the other, because it was well understood in the ancient world. And in some cultures, it is still alive today. Because we should not consider this concept of meditation, which we are going to see, as a religion. It is not a religion. It is just an observation which you are going to do without criticism, without judgment. But why it is required, what are the benefits, and why we should do that, slowly I'll cover it up. Before that, I want to also share once when you are in the habit of doing this, there are many evidences to support that it is possible for us to be calm, patient, and at the same time compassionate. This always happens in today's world because we have a lot of examinations, sometimes quiz, some vivas, oral commentary, interview, presentations, meetings, deadlines, BD, any idea? Not day duty, prep duty, sometimes curriculum map, Atlas Rubicon means more anxious. External essay, TOK, internal assessment, global perspective projects, anything, any word if you hear like this, immediately you feel frustrated sometimes. You feel there is something which I have to do, but I don't know whether I'll be able to complete, whether the students have brought the assignments properly, whether it is changed, or so many things, conflict going on in our mind. That happens. And once when we think in terms of a teacher, we are able to get that much frustration or anxiousness. Think in terms of a student who is studying in Good Shepherd. And many times when I hear from Sheila Miss that it is impossible to follow a schedule what a child is following from 5:30 to night 11 o'clock. It is impossible. It's impossible. And I don't know how they manage their stress. Sometimes it is shown. When they have symptoms like this, that a symptom project or something, when the deadline is approaching, you can hear some laptop crashes. Even from teachers, sometimes laptop crashes. I'm not telling you. Because of something else, laptop will crash. Because we go into a default mode that is called as either fight or flight mode. So most of the times, students as well as adults will go into a flight mode. That means we find out some defensive mechanism to escape from them. We can see some students getting admitted before the start of an exam. It's not that the student has not studied, but that anxiousness, afraid of a subject. And some of you, when you came back to Ooty after you stayed in your house or in your place of wherever it is, the first day before you enter your class, whether you are 15 years experience or 20 years experience or 25 years experience, doesn't matter. The first anxiousness is always there in each one of us. You would be an expert in your field, but still that anxiousness is there. Now the symptoms, as I told, there are many symptoms, but we are not going for the extreme disorders because that will lead into depression and we need a psychologist to handle that because that is difficult. The symptoms like nausea, apprehension, worry, fear, trembling, insomnia, these are a few which usually we can notice when they have more anxiety towards something. And when it is like that, we need to definitely learn some simple techniques which will at least relieve stress. So what we are going to do is, before starting with the first simple meditation technique, you should understand that stress is inevitable as a human being. The lion, the tiger will forget that sometimes once when a lion sees a sheep may run or a goat may run or a deer may run, but after that they will do their own business. But in human life, once when it enters, it's difficult for us or to do, sometimes it's very difficult to come out of that. So stress is inevitable, and stress is more inevitable when concerned to learning, when concerned to creativity. So that's what they prove. It's concerned to learning, concerned to creativity, and concerned to survival. in today's world, stress is inevitable for these three reasons. Now the first technique, which is a very easy one, which I like to practice that now, and once when you have understood that, you should be able to at least integrate this concept a maximum of 5 to 10 minutes in a day. It can be in any subject, it can be in any period, because when a student is attending 8 periods per day, at least in one of the periods, if he is able to bring to that moment, it becomes some kind of a relaxation for him, and it will definitely benefit him in many spheres. What are the benefits, we'll see slowly. But first let us try a simple technique, which most of you would have undergone, but still we wanted to do that. I want the lights to be switched off. We are not going to discuss anything about obsessive, compulsive therapy or cognitive behavioral therapy, because all those is under psychologist, because I am not trained for that. I am just talking a minuscule part from mindful based cognitive therapy, because it is useful in today's situation, especially in schools, and that is why I wanted to share. Now in this, what we are trying to do is, we are going to bring in that mindfulness technique. What is that mindfulness? Slowly in the course of the session you will be knowing. At present at least you know some type of meditation we have to do. But why? Because mindfulness itself means it's a quality of state of being conscious or aware of something. You are aware of something, but you are aware of something what you are doing it now. You are not aware of something what is already past. You are not aware of what is something going to happen in future. You are going to be aware of something what is going to happen now. So it is nothing but strive to focus on the present. So don't worry about anything. The first technique is called as 1 or 2 minute meditation, which is called as deep meditation, which can be incorporated in any subject in between or starting or end of the period. It can be even during the start of any activity. It can be even during when we get up from a bed. It can be even before going to bed. It can be incorporated in any part of the day. But if it is made as a practice, and if it is done at least 1 minute or 2 minutes a day for you as well as for the children, definitely it will benefit. What we have to do is, you have to gently close your eyes. Sit erect in your chair. If possible, bring your back a little forward so that your spine is self-supported. Your feet should be flat on the floor. Now focus your attention on your breath. Just focus your attention on your breath as it flows in and out of your body. Don't strain. There is no need to alter your breathing in any way. For some of you, your mind may wander. When you notice this gently, bring your attention back to your breath. Bring your attention back to your breath. Without giving yourself a hard time, an act of realizing that your mind has wandered, bring your attention back without criticizing yourself. Feel the senses when it is inhaled, when it is coming out of the throat, your chest, your abdomen. You can feel that when you inhale, your stomach is rising, and when you exhale, slowly goes back, contracts. Your mind eventually become calm, like a still pond, or it may not. Whatever happens, just allow it to be as it is. Initially, sometimes you struggle to breathe because there will be some obstructions. But once when you sense the feeling, you can easily listen to your breath. Slowly open your eyes. Because when we do this 1 or 2 minutes meditation to see how we breathe, or to close your eyes and only observe the breath, initially there are chances that our mind may wander. It's normal. It's normal. It may wander, it doesn't matter. But at least you will be able to bring it back to observe your breath. And when you at least do 3-4 times, the number of times you're wandering may decrease. But slowly you will feel comfortable that 1 minute that you are able to feel your breath. How many of you felt that you are going out of it? You're thinking about something. It happens initially. But it's good, it's normal. It's normal. You can just watch this 2-minute video. What we have done, I'm just reaffirming it. Because it is necessary in today's world when we are not able to come to that moment, because we always try to do multitasking. Sometimes we phone and we will be sending a message, we'll be talking to someone, we'll be sending a message, we'll be writing something at the same time thinking about something else. So there are so many things which are happening simultaneously, but when you do it continuously like that, there will be a stage where you will not be able to cope with. Because life is not about that. Life, what we live in, at least we should be coming to that present moment at some point of time. And if we don't give a chance for that, it becomes difficult. And especially with the loads of burden on each child, if a child is not able to relax, and since they are with us 24 hours, if we don't teach them how to relax, and we don't relax, it will be a disaster. So we can't wait for the disaster. Of course, we have a disaster session that is physical, outside, but emotionally, mentally, there should not be any disaster. I don't know if it's loading, but I'll come back to that. It's just a 2-minute thing. The second technique, this is also useful, but I'm just going to do with one item. We can do it with anything else, but I want 4 volunteers for this so that we'll be able to explain, because I will not be able to give that item for each one of you. So only 4 volunteers are required. Maybe 2 ladies and 2 gents, it will be good. I covered what is that item, otherwise If I display that, there will be more volunteers also. I require 2 more volunteers. Doesn't matter, you're just going to come and perform for 1 minute. You're just going to practice that technique, that's all. So it is a chance for you to practice so that you can do it with any other item. We have 3 volunteers, 1 more I require, because I have 4 items, that's right. So we have 4 items. So you missed a chance because you will be able to taste some new chocolate. That's why I covered it, otherwise people will be coming. You have to taste them, so you can spread it out. You have to just follow what I'm telling you. So please don't open it till I tell you. So it's called as a chocolate meditation, but it can be while brushing our teeth, having a cup of coffee, it can be while walking, while sleeping, while breathing, while even enjoying or anything which you do. I hope nobody has opened the chocolate. Usually the chocolate which you are going to choose should be dark, flavoursome, organic, any chocolate, but only thing is, it should not be one usually you're eating. Actually I told them not to get dairy milk or 5-star because both of them, sometimes there are chances that you tried. I don't know about anyone that tried this one? No, all 4 of you. Good. That's what we want. Now gently open the packet. Iramat, come here. You have to gently open the packet. Face the audience, that's all. Don't come near because I will ask the share. Open the packet slowly. Take the full chocolate out. You won't get any stomachache, don't worry. After opening the chocolate, if it breaks, doesn't matter. Just bring it to your nose and inhale the aroma. Slowly, don't do it anything. Inhale the aroma. Let it sweep over you. Don't eat it. Just aroma it. Don't eat it. Just bring it near your mouth. Break off a small piece. Break off a small piece and look at it. Look at it. Maybe for biology that is a small piece. Really, let your eyes drink in what it looks like. Examine every nook and corner. Pop it into your mouth. Slowly. But see it possible to hold it on your tongue. See it possible whether you can hold it on your tongue and let it melt slowly. Usually they say chocolate has 300 flavors. See at least some, you can sense some of them. Slowly you melt in your tongue and sense some of the flavors. If you notice your mind wandering, bring it back. You may be eating a chocolate, but you'll be thinking, tomorrow I have this one, tomorrow I have to do this one. Don't think that. If you notice your mind wander, you may also be thinking what others will think who are sitting here. If you notice your mind wandering while you do this, simply notice where it went. Gently escort the mind back to the chocolate, to the present moment. After the chocolate has completely melted, swallow it very slowly. You can do this with a similar piece, not now, afterwards when you get time, during the tea break you can do it. Thank you very much, all 4 of you. Thank you very much. Yeah. It is there in all the mindfulness meditation. How do you feel? Iraman? Delicious. Chocolate is delicious. Did you eat the chocolate better than how you used to eat before? Why this chocolate meditation? It can be anything, as I'm telling you. It's not necessary you have to buy a chocolate to do that. Sometimes you may get a chance to do that. Sometimes you get a sweet. Sometimes you have to try the coffee or the tea which you're going to drink at 11 o'clock to taste sip by sip and enjoy that moment which you are going to have it for 5 minutes. Because we don't enjoy what we do, we always think about what we are not going to do after that. Sometimes that will not happen. There are different types of meditation processes. I'm not going to demonstrate each one of them. We have few books which we purchased through Kindle as well as hard copies, paperback. You can go through if you have some time. And if you just Google it, you get a lot of information about that. And apart from that, we get a lot of information from a source which I will be telling you. The third one is called as progressive relaxation of muscles. For this only I thought Aishwarya or any yoga teacher is necessary. Preetam is there. They can help us, but I'm not going to demonstrate. We have already experienced this. I experienced it when Mr. Rajan was there. Maybe Sheila Miss would have experienced that. We have to lie down or we can sit, but lying down position is better for this. We need to feel each one of our organ starting from our foot till our forehead. So a person should run through, or we should have a pre-played cassette or a CD, so that we should be able to feel our parts of our body at least once in a week. If we are able to do that, that also will relax our muscles, relax us from many tensions. And usually the procedure is like that. It will start from left foot and go up to the face, or if you're right-handed, you can start from right foot and go up to the face, whichever way you want. But it requires at least 3 to 5 minutes to undergo this process. And there are a lot of ready-made the background setup available in net. If you require, you can download and try. And before trying, maybe if we get a session from Preeti or Aishwarya, it will be good for us. And similarly, the visualization technique, which is remembering something peaceful in our mind and then following the same technique. One thing you should remember, we are not blocking any thoughts. We are not clearing our mind. We are aware of the mind. We are just getting aware of the mind. Don't think that by doing 1 minute meditation, you will be able to submit what is required to be submitted on a deadline. That's not possible. It's not possible. It is just an awareness to make you feel that there are so many things coming and going. That's why we say thoughts and feelings are transient. They'll come, they'll go. They are temporary. But you should be able to visualize that, not reacting with that. As I saw one quote, what Sheila has done. 10% of things will happen to us, but 90% decides on how we react. We are not reacting for every thought or every feeling which is going to come to us. Benefits are more important in this, because when you calm your nerves now and don't worry, you have to just breathe. By just breathing, there are a lot of benefits which we are able to get it from that. There are so many. I'm just displaying all of them. One or two I'll read it. Reduction of stress levels possible. Increased self-awareness and awareness of others. Enhanced communication skills. Lower levels of impulsivity. Greater capacity to hold and manipulate information. Improved sleeping patterns. Sometimes even if you sleep for 6 hours, you should be able to sleep well. Increase interpersonal sensitivity. Increase in the levels of emotional intelligence. Lower levels of psychological distress, including depression and anxiety. Higher levels of well-being and overall work and life satisfaction. This is common ones which I'm telling, but when compared to education context, there are many which is coming which I'll be displaying. It is not necessary you have to sit cross-legged like this on the floor to do a meditation. You can do it on the chair. You can do it while sitting in a bus, sitting in a train, sitting in a flight. You can do anywhere. It's not necessary you have to sit on the floor. You can do it in a normal way wherever you are. And the definition of mindfulness first came from John Kabat-Zinn. He is a person who has done a lot of research on this. And because of him, it has made as one of the skills in our DP program, not only in DP, in all the IB3 programs. And it has brought inside approaches to teaching and learning that I'll tell you where it is coming. And this is some of the cartoons which will help you to understand about mindfulness. Sometimes the best thing you can do is not think, not wonder, not imagine, not obsess, just breathe. Have faith that everything will work out for the best. Most of the time we are in the past or in the future, but see that you are in the present. Your body should be at your present. And some expansion which I felt is good for mindfulness. Moment to moment attention is in the here and now, non-judgmental, detached from unhelpful thoughts, forgive and be grateful, unconditional acceptance, learn with childlike mindset. I'm just linking this where it is. Approaches to teaching and learning has become a main core of IB, main art of IB we can say. And in learning we have 5 skills: thinking skills, communication skills, social skills, self-management skills and research skills. Even though it is for IB, I don't think it should be for IB, it should be for the whole school. Because it's useful, it's interesting, it will has its benefits. In self-management skills, if you see, it is further divided into 2, organization skills and affective skills. In affective skills, you can see 3 sub-skills: resilience, self-motivation and mindfulness. So if you know something in mindfulness, it is a starting point for self-motivation and resilience. So if you are able to integrate at least a 5-minute activity, either deep breathing or something which they like, in a day-to-day schedule, it's not necessary you have to plan. If you feel they are exhausted, if they are stressed, you can just do for 1 minute in your classroom. It will work wonders. It will definitely has some kind of a feeling for them. And in education context, this is taken from the ATTL guide. It shows that it improves the functioning of brain. There is a research for that. It also shows that there is improvements being reported in reading comprehension, working memory capacity, digital memory span, visual and spatial processing efficiency. All these are possible if a child is able to think about that present moment through meditation or through rhythmic exercises or through any kind of relaxation techniques. And this I tried. I usually play music and then tell them to relax. So sometimes it has a benefit, because when you have a music played before a child enters a classroom, if it is soft and instrumental one, that itself brings some kind of a calmness. It helps the child to come to a stillness, and then from there you can take off. A lot of music available, you can download, you can use it. And this one which is played as a background is Zen music, because Zen music always is powerful and they have the ability to make you feel calm. And this I tried with a grade 11 math students, and some of their experiences, their feedback, what they have told is peaceful, relaxed feeling, calmness, clears my mind. But one student who told me that it's Ishwar, he told, nice way to sleep for 2 minutes, he told. Okay, good, that also is possible. You can sleep for 2 minutes, so at least you get a break. Main benefits, if you see, when you consider with educational context: better focus and concentration, increased sense of calm, improved impulse control, decreased stress and anxiety, increased self-awareness, skillful responses to difficult emotions, because it's more important in today's world, increased empathy and understanding of others, development of natural conflict resolution skills. These are the skills which are in relation to educational context, which is again taken from the ATTL guide. The only thing is whether it's uploaded, we'll see.